Thanks for joining us on Key Factors, presented by theraceguide.com.au. Stu, Rich and Michael here to take you through another big quaddie weekend at Randwick. And, well, look, Winks is back. She's on that winning streak now. It was Far Lap's record last week. Now she goes on to 15, trying to get the better of Burnborough and Carbine with 15 wins. I just feel so sorry for these horses that have to chase her every week like Hartnell. Yeah, unbelievable for Hartnell. He's a great horse and he's only coming second every time to Winks. There's some big names you're talking about there. Yeah. Burnborough, Carbine, Black Caviar, all Hall of Famers. Obviously, Winks will be a Hall of Famer one day. The only question is how many G1s on her resume before she retires. I hope she just keeps going. But let's have a look at last week's quaddie before we start. Over $1,600 there for the followers and the wet track quaddie. Well, the rain did come and it paid. Yeah, we like to go long, try and get a long quaddie. We got it last week. Let's go back to back this week. Well, look, let's kick off the quaddie this weekend. It is the running of the Surround Stakes over the 1,400 metres. The trifecta here from the Lightfingers a fortnight ago with Gay's Tough Global Glamour getting the job done, beating Fox Play and Sprite. And, well, Chris Waller, geez, he's been waiting patiently to get Ome Sword back to the track after some muscle issues, and she's back. And then there's the Kiwi daughter of So You Think, La Bella Diosa, the beautiful goddess, and trained by Mandy and Matt Brown, crossing the ditch, and that's equal favourite for the Oaks, I think. Mike. Yeah, she really smashes the line, that Kiwi, doesn't she? I mean, she's going to be a great Oaks runner looking forward. Let's look at the way this race sets up. Group 2, 1,400 metres. A fair tempo, we hope, in this race. The conditions a little bit up in the air on Saturday, just like last week. There's some rain forecast on Saturday. It could be good if it doesn't come. It could be soft if it does come. Fair to off rails is usually the bias when the rails in the true at Randwick. So across the three key factors, based on those conditions, look, all these classy races with set weights suits the classier types. So weight's definitely a key factor. Position in run, there's a few of the favourites that are drawn a little bit wide, so definitely position in run for us as well. And scope, don't forget they're only 3-year-olds too, so they're still improving. It'll be interesting to see in the market where these first-up horses do fit in terms of the betting. Let's get the market up straight away, because it's one of those ones that, well, you know, you've got this horse coming across from New Zealand. We've got Global Glamour, and there's Ome Sword, but it's not the first uppers on top. It is Glazed Global Glamour. She is just one tough competitor. We know how tough she is. Already a nibble there for Ome Sword. We've got Fox Play and Sprite. We know they're going to be thereabouts, but it's all about the money for these horses here, Global Glamour and Ome Sword. Some big bets during the week. Yeah, what an honour to have these two horses racing before Winks even goes around. I mean, Global Glamour is such a tough on-pace type. Ome Sword, a massive swooper. Two fantastic fillies. Let's have a look at an obvious replay first, which is Global Glamour first up. Back from the Gold Coast this day in the green leading, and she set a massively fast tempo in front. Fox Play coming to the outside in purple, running on with Sprite in the white. Yeah, they're doing their best chasing here, but Global Glamour, so well ridden, off, gone, tough. Gay Waterhouse, Randwick, what more can you say? Well, yes, such a tough effort. Just to give some stats for you here, she started off at 70 k's an hour. She's going about 55 k's an hour here. They're all slowing down. They still couldn't get her. So they're all slowing down. That's a really interesting point. You think they're closing, but officially they're not. Always deceiving to the eye when there's a strong tempo. There you go. Interesting. Well, let's have a look at Ome Sword. As I said before, Chris Waller's been trying to get her back to the track. She is now back, but we're going to have a look here at the Golden Rose. This was a cracking performance and beat all bar the Group 1 colt Astern. Yeah, well, she's in the red and yellow, just getting held up behind the other horse in red and yellow in front of her, just finding some space now with the white bridle. She's a fantastic filly. This is a Group 1 1,400 metre event, and she was huge too. Unlucky and still got second. Yeah, pretty unlucky there, even just watching that again, but just love the way she finished here, rocketed to the line. That's Astern. What more can we say? Yeah, high chaparral filly, smashes the line, 1,400 metres is ideal. Look, let's have a look at the key factors here. We're looking for the gold. As we said before, we've got a couple of these horses first up, but there's Global Glamour, bit of gold there, straight away. Well, yeah, she's a classy horse, isn't she, based on what she's done so far. She won 2 Group 1s within 7 days last spring, so she should be getting more weight. Ome Sword not badly treated, though, considering she came placed in a Group 1. Across to position and run, a big tick for Global Glamour here. Ome Sword, Fox Play, Sprite, all drawn alongside each other, all get midfield or back, which is a bit tricky for them. But you've got to say, Ome Sword, the one with massive scope. There's something a bit like Winks about her. Smashes the line on the improve. She's a great filly. Something a bit like Winks. That's a big thing to say. It's a big call. Well, look, I've got a feeling there. Speaking about a few of these horses, let's bring up the overall ratings, because it doesn't sound like to me there's too much between them. And as we see there really isn't much between them. 12.5, 12.5. But let's have a look in behind. We've pretty much got the whole market order there. That's really interesting. Those names on the page are the same order as the names on the page before. So the guys at the race guide agree with the guys at the tab, but there are 2 on top. One of them is better odds and one of them is a fresh form line, which is always something to factor in when you're thinking about having a bet. The fresh form line is usually better odds to go for.
Ome Sword for us. Look at the yard, look at the betting just to make sure. But if she's flying, she's a fantastic filly. They'll be really hard to beat. So she's the best bet, Ome Sword. And if she is going well, she's the value bet. Standout Ome Sword from the trifecta from the light fingers. They'll all run well.
All right, so faith in Ome Sword coming back first up.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, that's a look at the first leg of the quaddie. Let's get to the chipping Norton. It's all about Winks, but we know how good she is, but it's also these horses that are chasing him behind. Like I said, we've got Hartnell. He's become the new Hay-list, just chasing Winks home all the time. But anything in behind there, I know I see Tavago's running. That was a big day for the race guide in the Derby last year, and any chance of a place for a horse like that?
Well, he loves Randwick, doesn't he? That particular day on the Derby, the lightly framed, tough types ran so well that day, and it was a great day for race guide followers. I think we almost tipped the card that day, but let's look at the way this race sets up and see if Tavago, Winks, I'm sure Winks will be suited. Group 1, 1,600 metres, steady tempo. Every single time Winks goes around, she seems to be in a tactical race. Conditions, good 3 to soft 6, and the bias we talked about, fair to off rails, is the forecast on Saturday. So across the 3 key factors for this event, weight, once again a key factor, it's weight for age. Horses like Winks should be getting so much more weight. And it's a tactical race, so position and run and the ability to quicken is really important too.
Whenever a market comes up, even with nominations with Winks, you know it's going to be short. $1.10 came up early in the week, and even today I think 56k was put on her at $1.10, so they don't care what sort of price she is. They've already stepped in at the $1.10. Hartnell, well, he's used to seeing her backside. He's $8 there again. Endless Drama, the trifecta horse from a couple of weeks ago. But look, I think the interest rate's at 1.5% from the RBA at the moment, and Winks is paying 10%, so that sounds good to me.
Well, she could be a lot, couldn't she? And if you like a bit of risk in your investments, then it's much better than 1.5%, isn't it? But look, there's an obvious replay to look at. Winks first up to see. Look, we're always really excited to see just how well she's going every time she comes back. No doubts here, is there? She's in the blue with the white M coming to the outside now, just sidling up now. Hartnell in the Godolphin blue behind her. And what do you say about this, Stu?
Oh, look, I was there just cheering on. It's at this point here, she just goes bang. But I think we've really got to focus in here and behind. There's Hartnell. He just keeps chasing. He's so brave.
Yeah, 2 big performances, big margins, aren't there? An Endless Drama in third. The tempo is quite strong that day and he can sprint, so not a bad run from him.
Look, she's just a champion. She did nothing wrong there. It was beautiful first up. Let's focus on Hartnell, though. This is a horse that keeps chasing home Winks. This is the Group 2 Chelmsford Stakes at 1,600. There was no Winks in this race. This was how good he can be.
Well, just, go through your form guides, take a whiteout marker, delete Winks' name, and then work out how good this horse is, because this is an incredible win. This is after he lost to Winks by a few lengths first up. This is him second up last prep. And we thought he might win this day, but we didn't think he'd win by this much, Stu.
No, this is absolutely massive. That's a huge gap. You got to love the way J-Mac just sort of stares over his shoulder there.
Yeah, went on to smash them in Melbourne, beat Jamaica, the Caulfield Cup winner by a margin, came placed in the Melbourne Cup, which is too far for him. He's a great horse.
Yeah, look, there's so many great horses, but there too. Let's have a look at the key factors. I mean, are we expecting just to see gold across the page here for Winks, or is it not quite like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, she's such a classy horse. It's weight for age. She's stealing it on the weights, isn't it? She should be getting much bigger weight than she is. Across to sprint, such a key factor in these tactical races as well. Hartnell, Endless Drama, and of course Winks, the only horses in this race with a decent turn of foot, we think. Across to position and run, maybe it's the one risk for Winks, maybe getting locked up, but barrier 4 right behind the leaders, she should be fine.
Well, let's have a little drum roll here. We can do it ourselves. I think she might be on top. There she is. She's 13. And then, look, there's some big gaps here. That's equivalent of, I think it's 4 lengths back to Hartnell, another couple back to Endless Drama. But, look, she's on top. But the real thing here is the margins in between.
Huge margin. She's pushed good horses down to 3, 4. We don't see those types of numbers usually, don't we? And
nah, they're big.
I mean, big margins and 2 basically moral bets in this race. We think Winks will win. She's $1.10. The big margin from Hartnell, don't forget that though. We think he'll run a place and he's $1.30. Which one do you prefer? Easy for us. We'll go for Hartnell and place. Still not great odds, but better than bank interest. He's the best bet. And let's do that straight out trifecta for a value bet. We think they'll run 1, 2, 3 again.
Well, look, not too much quaddie there, not too much value there for the second leg of the quaddie, but we're talking about class horses here. So, look, there's a look at the first 2 legs. We'll be back with legs 3 and 4 after the break, but it's been a big start so far. Welcome back to Key Factors, presented by theRaceGuide.com.au. It's on to the third leg of the quaddie this weekend, and it's the aptly named Guy Walter Stakes. He did pass away a few years ago, Guy Walter, and very fitting that the Tate family, I mean, they had one of their best horses in Tie the Knot with Guy, and really fittingly we've got Zanbar here that started with, went through its preparation with Guy Walter. And you know, this is a horse that went on to get placed, I think it was second in the Crown Oaks and the Australian Oaks, and it was only just after that, just before that actually, and then Guy passed away. So look, it does bring back a lot of memories.
Yeah, it's important to remember these great trainers that these races are named after, and it's so great to see the racing community come together after that. Obviously Nathan Berry wasn't too long ago as well, and such a great culture in racing, everyone coming together when these horrible things happen. But let's get into the third leg of the quaddie and bring up the race conditions for the third leg. Group 2, 1400 metres for the Guy Walter Stakes this year. Steady tempo only though, not too many leaders engaged in the race. A couple of the leaders have just been scratched in the last 24 hours actually, so that changes the dynamic of the race quite a lot. Conditions good 3 to soft 6, and bias, we talked about the fair to offer hours bias that we're expecting on Saturday. Across the 3 key factors, look, the tough Randwick track, especially if rain comes, suits certain mares. Down to stage of preparation, some are first up, some are second up, that suits certain horses as well. And adaptability as well, quite a tactical race, that's a key factor for us too. Yeah,
one that we don't often use too often as well, adaptability. Yep. Let's bring up the market. It's Dixie Blossoms on top. I mean, there's 3 really high-class mares in this race, we know that, but Dixie's just one of those horses that the punters love to come for. Danish Twist, well, there's another one. I mean, the punters love her as well. First Seal, she was the darling of Sydney racing with did have a winning record over Winx there at one stage at $8, and Flippant there, $4.20, Flippant there at $8. So look, this is really about the 3 horses right at the top of their game here.
Yeah, 3 classy mares that we've got to have a look at in these replays, don't we, to see. And we'll go back a bit for these 2 replays. This is First Seal, first up, last prep, over the same distance, 1400 metres. Dixie Blossoms on pace in second in the cerise and white hoops. First Seal coming to the outside in the red and yellow stew.
Yeah, well, this Dixie Blossoms here is so tough on pace this day. That's what we've got to love. First Seal, oh gosh, she's looming here, but I don't know, what do you make of her finishing here?
Well, we liked her. We backed her this day. Yeah. She loomed up. We thought she was going to win, and she definitely peaked. It's the same distance she faces on Saturday, and look, it wasn't a great finish, was it?
No, especially just over the line there. But look, that's first up. That's why we showed you that replay. Dixie Blossoms, we saw there in a forward roll. Here she's out the back in the white and pink, and we'll run you through this, but slicing through is probably the word here.
Absolutely. I mean, back off a steady tempo. We thought she'd be good over 1600 metres at Randwick, and she quickened up, sliced through the pack, strong to the line. That's Happy Hannah on the rails in the royal blue, who's a smart mare in her own right. But Dixie Blossom's way too good, Stu.
Oh, absolutely bursts through and then just runs away with it here. And some really, she went on to run really well in the Group 1 Mire as well, and Danish Twist and First Seal were there as well. So, look, that's a really solid win.
It's a great form reference at Randwick.
Yeah, for sure. Let's have a look at the key factors now. We're looking for the gold, as we know, and whoa, straight away, Dixie Blossoms, I can see some gold there.
Well, we talked about Randwick, didn't we? Dixie Blossoms, a more athletic type that seems really suited to the track. Danish Twist, a super tough mare. We know she loves it here. She won the provincial champs a year ago, obviously. Across the stage of preparation, you might not think the stats in the form guide look that good, but they both had excuses last prep. They're both quite good second up. Probably better than First Seal is first up. Maybe the difference between these 2 favourites, Dixie Blossom's more adaptable, can go forward, can go back, can quicken, can surge. She can almost do it all, this girl.
Oh, I thought it was getting a bit tougher here, this quaddie, and seeing all that gold for these 2 favourites makes me just think, well, it's just another one that we're going to hone in on some favourites. Let's bring up the overall ratings here, and I like the case you've just made there for Dixie. You've got to find an edge, and there's a little edge there to Dixie Blossoms and Danish Twist in behind, First Seal, but they're the 3, but you've made that case for Dixie.
Well, yeah, if Danish Twist jumps out of the barriers, posies up nicely near the pace and settles well, we will be not so confident, but we think Dixie Blossoms will be in that spot. She's more adaptable, so she's the one for us. Dixie Blossom's the best bet, especially if rain comes. Danish Twist will give it an almighty shake down the outside. A great bet for the value as well. The Quinella, Danish and Dixie for us for value.
Yeah, look, she's so tough, that's for sure. Let's get on to the last leg of the quaddie. It's the Byron Thomas Recruitment Handicap, and I think this race for me is all about some of these trains. We've got Angela Davies from Gosford, absolutely on fire, winning 5 out of her last 9. I think she's got machine gun jubs. We've got John Bateman, who's got Lofty's Menu, who was part of the Country Championships qualifier last year, and Then there's that other small stable, Godolphin. They haven't been going so well of late. We had Merceau running a shocker last start, but they did bounce back to some form on Wednesday with a win.
Well, yeah, hopefully Heidel and Chet would run well on Saturday because, yeah, not such a small stable. We'll be struggling on Saturday if they don't get a winner soon. I mean, it's not looking good for them. Let's have a look at the way this race sets up on Saturday. The race conditions for the Get Out Stakes. Benchmark 85, 1,200 metres. Not a group race, unfortunately, but still a good contest. Fair to steady tempo. There's a couple going forward. It should be okay, we hope. Conditions good 3 to soft 6 we've talked about, and the bias. So across the 3 key factors for this race on Saturday, we're keeping it pretty simple for the last race. Track, distance, looking for a sprinter well suited to those conditions, and reliability. There's a big difference in some of these horses. Some are a bit up and down, and some are really rock solid.
Well, we've already seen a few big bets come in this week, and one of them in particular has come from Machine Gun Jubs. I think today it was $15,000 at the $4.40, so really rock solid, right there into $3.20. Your Way, well, great form this prep, winning 3 out of its 4. We've got Denper 6, Lofty's menus there, Zara Bay. So, look, there's a few under $10 here, but the money has really spoken. But what's going on with these Gosford-trained horses? Angela Davies, what's doing up there?
I don't know. The stats are unbelievable, aren't they? She's only got a handful of horses. She doesn't race them that often, and the stats are huge for the last 50 starts and 5 from the last 9. But we'll look at Machine Gun Jubs in a second. Let's start with Your Way. Same track, same distance a couple of weeks ago. She's the one in the Bjorn Baker colours, the pink with the epaulettes, just coming to the outside now. What a win, Stu.
Yeah, the baldy face just about to poke through now, and I think it's really just in this next sort of 50 metres just sort of puts the race away. I love the way she just kept going.
Yeah, big surge, really tough filly. Seemed to love Roundwick, which is a great sign for her on Saturday. Mersault knocking up. Grand Punto near the back. He just doesn't seem to get around the turns at Roundwick. He always goes badly here.
Well, Grand Punto near the back. It was out the back and then very wide there.
Kind of went through the line all right there, though.
It did, though. Let's have a look at Machine Gun Jubs. We touched on her. This is a race where she went forward and just really shows her toughness.
Yeah, I mean, she's just a cracking mare, isn't she? She's so genuine, so tough, has the tactical speed to go forward. Look, she gets on pace here and she out-toughs a horse called Way Too Good, who was firm in the market, had good form lines, and she's dropping out there in the James Cummings colours. Some decent horses chasing her. And there's another form reference through Motor that puts this win on top of the win that we just saw from Your Way. So a bit of a form tick to Machine Gun Jubs.
Yeah, it's always good to see a good win, but to hear actually the form backing up behind it, that's even better. Let's have a look at the key factors. Again, we're looking for the gold. We've got to get the punters out. It's the last leg of the day. Fair bit of gold across the page here.
First favourite, second favourite, straight across the page. I mean, look, Your Way's a really strong, tough mare and a Randwick type, we think. She loves the distance, she loves the track, and she's super reliable. Machine Gun Jubs, tick, tick, tick as well. Looking across the Denper, look, she's drawn the inside. She's a bit up and down. Zara Bay doesn't always hit the line over this distance. Lofty's Menu, a great horse, but after a year off, we're just not sure how he's going to go. So it's those two clearly with gold ratings.
Yeah, well, look, these favourites are really picking themselves on Saturday, aren't they? Let's bring up the overall ratings. We've got to look for a little difference here. As we looked out, well, Machine Gun Jubs and Your Way, they both had the gold, but there is a margin here to Machine Gun Jubs. Mike, take us through that one.
Well, yeah, and the key factors from a conditions perspective, they're both really well suited.
Yeah.
But going through the form, looking for those form references, doing the times, just a tick to Machine Gun Jubs, even though we're terrified of Your Way. Machine Gun Jubs the one for us. She's so reliable, and some of these other horses are so risky. She's a great each-way bet. Each-way moral, we think, on Saturday. And the value bet, once again, 2 tough mares for a Quinella. Your Way as well for the value bet.
Each-way moral. We love to hear that wrapping up the Quaddie. Let's have a look at this Quaddie, though. I mean, it is a Quaddie, but with Winks in it, let's just face it, it's pretty much a treble. There's a lot of shorties that we've mentioned, and as we look here, that is an extremely short Quaddie. A bit of confidence here?
There's only one way to play it, really. Otherwise, you walk away with a lower return than what you put out. I mean, Global Glamour, so we talked about them. They're both cracking fillies. What an honour to see them before Winks goes around and wins in race 7. Race 8, Dixie Blossoms just has the edge on Danish Twist on a dry track. And race 9, they're the 2 top raters there.
Well, a huge percentage there for the Quaddie for $100. That's the dry track. As we did last week, the rain came. We put the wet track Quaddie in. Let's do the same again. Who's coming in and coming out of the wet track Quaddie?
Well, it was quite different last week, wasn't it? But this week, not much different at all. I mean, most of those horses have just looked at Handler, a sort of a softish track. Yeah. So the only ones we're adding in are Fox Play in race 6 and across to Danish Twist in race 8. And you've got to note, in both those Quaddies, all the horses are mares and fillies.
That's a very interesting stat.
Yep.
And still a good percentage there for the wet track Quaddie.
Yep, not bad.
Well, you've got to keep your eye out for that rain this weekend. It could do what it did last weekend, but it's not going to dampen Winks' parade on Randwick. That's something we're looking forward to. There's the Quaddie this weekend. I hope it can fill your bags up again as we did last week. And for us at the Race Guide, it's happy punting for the weekend.
Cheers, good punting.